Welcome to 202 Create. My name is Natalie Cofield, entrepreneur in resident from Mayor Muriel Bowser presents 202 Creates. In response to the changing business landscape, we are proud to launch a masterclass series featuring creative entrepreneurs and business leaders who have achieved success to inspire and form the district's creative economy and community. An initiative of the DC Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, and Entertainment, led by director Angie M. Gates, 202 Creates produces entrepreneurship programming, provides technical assistance, masterclasses, seminars, and produces biannually a cohort model business intensive residency program designed to aid creatives in scaling their endeavors. For more information, please visit www.202creates.com. Now we'd like to kick off today's program by introducing our featured speakers, Tuma Basa, YouTube Director of Black Music and Culture, who will be led in conversation with artist and activist Tone P for a discussion on the future of the music industry, lessons on success, and tips on how musicians and songwriters can remain relevant and paid during the global pandemic. We'll start with biographies. As Director of Black Music and Culture at YouTube, Tuma Basa is responsible for leading activities that draw on his deep industry connections and expertise in programming to increase YouTube's engagement with the culture. He is also focused on helping artists and labels get the full benefit of YouTube's direct-to-fan tools through production and product education. Prior to YouTube, Tuma served as a global programming head of hip hop at Spotify, where he was responsible for curating popular playlists for the service, including Rap Caviar, one of Spotify's biggest and most popular playlists with over 9 million followers. Tuma began his career in hip hop with a 4-year stint in BET's music programming department right after college. He then went on to spend 10 years at MTV in music programming for channels and franchises such as MTV Jams and Sucker Free. While at MTV, Tuma earned his MBA from New York University's Stern School of Business. After MTV, Tuma helped Sean Puff Daddy Combs launch Revolt, where he served as Vice President of Music and Programming. Originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo, in a family originally from Rwanda, Tuma spent his childhood in Iowa and moved to Zimbabwe for his entire teen years. Tuma attended the University of Iowa, where he reunited with his favorite U.S. college football and basketball teams, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Tone P is a 2-time gold artist, producer, activist, and songwriter whose music intertwines rock, go-go, and hip-hop that's upbeat and guitar savvy, whose lyrics touches on political issues, relationships, and reality with frequent call and response feels inspired by DC's go-go music and culture. Born in Washington, D.C., raised in Southwest, Tone P is known for his go-go influenced music production, reaching national and international success, producing records for mainstream artists such as Common, J. Cole, Jhené Aiko, Trey Songz, 2 Chainz, Wale, Rick Ross, and more. Through his music production, Tone P has been nominated at the Grammys, BET Awards, and BET Hip Hop Awards. Tone P's production contribution was most notably recognized by President Obama as Wale's Love Hate Thing scored the #1 song on President Obama's summer playlist in 2016. As an activist, Tone P is 1/5 of the Don't Mute DC Pioneers, which is an activist organization that preserves culture, influences and develops policy, and forming and activating the people, which have been recognized on national and international platforms, including the Smithsonian, BET Awards, the Shade Room, BBC, the Washington Post, Fox News, Blavity, and more. I'd now like to introduce our 2 featured speakers, Tuma Basa and Tone P.
After that phenomenal intro, I was like, who's responsible for having me on with this guy? Like, who is this? This man is like a legend. I know I'm a legend in a lot of people's eyes, but I said, oh my goodness. I mean, the impact. I like to hear about Black men in different departments outside of like you know, how I grew up, all the influences to most of us in the inner cities is, you know, you got rappers, producers, rappers or ball players, right? But like to hear about you doing your thing, like it's amazing, bro.
No. Well, the thing is this is it's an ecosystem. Is that we all need each other. It has to be interdependency, and without that, what happens is that's how you get played. You know, so that's part of why we're here for 202 Create, so people can we keep this engagement and this conversation and the ecosystem strong, right? And what's possible or what doesn't work or what hasn't worked, because you go through everything you go through. And by the way, I want to start before we get into it. I want to tell you about 2 experiences in my life that I'll never forget that involve 2 of your songs. First one. Wait, hold on.
Oh, let me
discography. Get your discography. Okay, so the love-hate thing is my cousin was getting married in Charlotte, North Carolina. I programmed MTV Jams for 10 years, right? So like the channel MTV Jams here, I think here was channel 142 on Comcast back in the day, right? And we were playing Love-Hate Thing on MTV Jams, and I remember driving to my cousin's wedding, and it played on WPEG in Charlotte while we're driving. I remember telling my brother, like, yo, this song is just like so, it's like perfect, like like perfect. And then the other one was Howard Theater when it reopened. This is years ago. Wale did a show, right? And I'll never forget me thinking I know what people want, et cetera, and I played Bait on MTV Jams, right? And I played Bait because it was like, okay, like, all right, I'll put it on, but I didn't know how big the record was, right? Because it wasn't like a radio record, like you know, like
it never had radio. It never had a budget for radio ever.
Well, I will never forget when Bait came on. And Howard Theater was brand new. Big came on, the way everyone went wild. I said they're gonna break this theater before it even gets there. Like, I will never forget that. It was one of those eye-opening things, and that's actually part of the reason, you know, we love to go out, is, you know, to discover. And now with COVID, we can't go out, right? Or we're not supposed to go out,
right?
You know? Not supposed to go
and
out.
how you go out. You can still go out, but it's how you go out.
Yeah. So
right.
What are you playing? What's your COVID playlist right now? What are you playing?
Before I get to the COVID playlist, I just want to piggyback on that Bait experience, right? Because Bait was a culture classic. Yeah. And that's probably like, if you were not engulfed in the DC scene or in the go-go scene, then you probably wouldn't know outside the city. That's why it was so important to integrate go-go with hip-hop for our area, so it personifies our identity. You know what I mean? Like, so we keep our identity but still moving in the space of hip-hop. We can still keep our go-go identity for the city. And so, you know, I was actually on that hook too, you know. Okay. That's me on the hook.
Oh, that's dope. I didn't know that.
It was a big thing, and it was crazy, bro, because I remember we was in Atlanta and we played it for everybody. We played it for like Khaled, who came through. We played it for Miguel, Toon, DJ Toon. A bunch of people down there, and everybody would stop on that record, and they would say, "Man, it's the one." I don't know how we didn't get a budget for radio for that, but it was a big deal.
The video, I remember the video. Like at that time, you had like the you could tell the like super polished. You know what I mean? Videos. The video felt like, okay, this was like a work out of love. That I used to call it. Love was the budget. You know what I mean? That was it. It wasn't like, so wow. Yeah. So I'll never forget those 2 times. And because I was on SoundCloud, and I went through your whole discography, and I was like, oh snap! Oh yeah, I remember self-made. You know what I mean? The Tiana Taylor, the Jill Scott, all like the range, and I really like respect the consistency, the sonic identity, what you just described in terms of sonically representing your city, right?
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, exactly. We have our identity, and we're going to stand with our sound, and we're going to share that sound with the rest of the world in the language that the rest of the world understands.
Absolutely.
So I just want to give you that respect. You know what I mean?
Thank you, boss. Appreciate it. Now moving to the playlist that you just said, right?
Yeah.
Now, see, I'm weird, right? Because I'm a real music snob, you know, and I like to I'm a producer, so you know, I like to move on to a lot of different things. I get influenced and inspired by a lot of different things. I was just into like mad blaxploitation albums, like you know, you feel me? Like I've been listening to a lot of that recently, so I've been building my own playlist, you know, just from a lot of stuff I've been using. So like I got a cruisers playlist on my Tone P Spotify account, which hosts like, you know, Western music from Ennio Morricone. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know who that is. I'm gonna put you on. Listen, bro. He is like the master of all. Like put like this Kill Bill. A lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Ennio Morricone.
They're talking like the score, like the music. The
exactly. Put you in an entire different mind frame of music. So I'm into weird stuff like that. You feel me? And so my playlist hosts like old school R&B, probably like 90s rap. Then you got the Western stuff. Then you got like, you know, Brazilian jazz and Asian jazz. Yeah, I'm all over the place, man.
Wait, do you remember that song "Chill Bill" by Rob Stone? When you said "Kill Bill," the way it started.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, when you said "Kill Bill," it reminded me of that record. He was a kid out of San Diego.
Gotcha.
Had a nice little vibe and et cetera.
Yeah.
Wait. So, why Brazilian jazz? I'm just curious. This is just more curiosity.
See, the fact that you just asked me that means I need to put you on, because I'm telling you, when we're gonna build outside of here, right?
Yeah, no,
and I'm gonna bring some Brazilian jazz albums, bro, and we just gonna sit and listen. I'm gonna wait for your eyebrows to hit the sky. You're like, oh, shh. You know, that's crazy.
You know, what's interesting is most people don't realize that Brazil has the second largest Black population in the world after Nigeria. Like America's like 12, right? Brazil in Bahia and in the favelas, they're in, you know what I mean? It's like concentrated in favelas and in the Bahia province. That Brazil is after Nigeria, like more than every other African country except for Nigeria, has the most Black people.
That's amazing. That's an amazing statistic, because that's something that's like not in the forefront.
Well, because they're oppressed, and then what happens is so they don't get out of Brazil, and then they're speaking Portuguese, and nobody speaks Portuguese. So if they were Spanish speaking, it would be easier.
It'd be different.
So yeah,
for sure.
You know? I'm questioning. Speaking of Black people and just changes, the Don't Mute DC. I see back there. Is a lot of that had to do with gentrification and cultural bullying. From my perspective,
I always say cultural bullying. I don't make excuses for it, because sometimes it could be cultural misunderstandings, but then sometimes it can be cultural bullying. You know, in this instance, I think it was a bit of both.
Okay.
You know, because you know DC is a transient city, right? Yeah. Like DC is a lot of, you know, people come here for jobs, and you know, they stay here for about 5 to 10 years and they move on. And so therefore, when you have an abundance of that, it creates a climate of people and a culture of people who don't really appreciate the natives, because they're only here for a reason. And then while they're here in a certain position of power more than a lot of people, you know, a lot of natives in the city. Just sad to say, a lot of these people come here and get better jobs than the natives that already live here. Yeah. And so, you know how that goes. That's politics, man. And so we just kind of you know, my homie came and he was like, yo, it's a situation down at 7th in Florida, you know, but it wasn't on TV yet. It wasn't even out in the public yet. And he knew that I had connects, you know, to the city. And my platform on Instagram has like a lot of the big wigs. You know, I got a lot of people following me. It's like 30-some thousand people. I mean, you have a pretty big platform yourself there, sir. Yeah. Nah, and yeah, man, I came down to just help, to be a brother. Like, I wasn't trying to be on camera, on TV, because, you know, after I put the information out about T-Mobile and whatnot, and Fox 5 was calling my phone, and my suggestion was to go public, because that space was a cultural icon and niche for the city. Like, when you walk past, like, you get out of the Shaw Howard metro station, you walk up the street, you know subconsciously that you're going to hear music at the corner of 7th in Florida, because it's part of the experience. Yeah. And so, you know, that was my recommendations to Donald Campbell at the store. I said, man, let's go public, because at this point, you know, put it like this. He was already terminated. The public didn't know that, but he was the paperwork was in already. And so the only thing you could do is allow the people to defend you at that capacity. And you have that on your side. You have that option. But he, businessman, you can't speak for, him and how he wanted to go about things, but it blew up anyway.
But you guys made a statement because
big time.
The impact reverberated throughout the country, and where people felt like they could stand up, and then the whole Karen culture and you guys made huge, and visually too was stunning. Like where you saw,
and I was the first DC responder to do that too. It was a girl who put out the tweet who actually titled this entire thing, and when I saw her put out the tweet, I said, you know what? Before this date, the media, because I know how the media works, and, we know how the media works on this end of things. I said, before it gets out and people start writing the wrong story, let me put T-Mobile's involvement, because I know about what's really happening. It's not just the Shea Building. This pressure is coming from T-Mobile, right? Which changes the entire the weight of the situation, right? And so I put that out on my Instagram. And I let the tweet surface, a girl's tweet the same day. And then, we woke up the next day, man. And, it was, people calling me, other activists in the city calling me like, yo, we're going to do, host a rally in front of 7th and Florida. Literally the next day, Fox 5, Channel 4, all these guys were calling me, and I directed everybody towards Donald, because that's not for me to speak on.
Yeah.
I didn't really speak until later on. And when things really got big with Mochella and whatnot, like, because you know how that is. Then politics kind of take over in itself.
But you have to keep the campaign ongoing. This is a permanent thing, and it's bigger than that was like a Rosa Parks type of incident. Yeah, exactly. You have to.
Got to keep it going.
Yeah, because it's about the promotion of the culture. And actually, we were talking earlier. The culture 20, 30 years ago was within the district. Now the culture. You believe DC, when you talk about DC, only the geographic DC, or you talking about the whole DMV? Like, I want to hear your opinion on that.
Oh man, listen, you picked the right one, because I am the man to always speak on this subject, because as a person from the inner city, that rhetoric, it can be a touchy situation. And for me, when I travel to places outside of the inner city, like the suburbs, we talking about Silver Spring, Montgomery County, Gaithersburg, or down in Suitland or Forestville or Waldorf or Clinton, Maryland, and places like this, right? New Carrollton and what have you, Seat Pleasant. These places, the culture, there's nothing different, right? And it's the same. Like the DMV is DC, because these people in the city end up moving out to Maryland, because sometimes the city can be too expensive. But these people are from DC. Even though they raise their kids in Maryland, their kids are being raised by people from DC. And so it's no different. It's the culture. That's just how it is. And when somebody who travels like I do, like you do, like people who out here and they travel the world, nobody ever looks in to PG County and says, oh, where you from? You say, oh, I'm from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Yeah, no, and you're like, where that at? Oh, in DC. Oh, you from DC? Because you speak the language. You say Mo, you say, luncheon. It's the same thing.
Bama.
You say Bama. You say you dress the same way. You wear 992.
Oh, do people still say they curried you? You got
you got carried.
Oh, yeah, carried. Yeah.
Oh,
my boy Joy used to say that. He always like, oh, they curried. He used to say, pronounce it curried you. Like,
curry. Like, see, curry like that.
And my boy tomorrow always says, woo, woo, woo.
Oh, yeah. Like, you know what? Like, we about to go to the store and, and they got into it and woo, woo, woo.
Woo, woo, woo. I'm like, yo, where's woo, woo from?
Yeah, that's inner city talk, right? Like, you won't hear a lot of that out.
But the whole point is it's about the culture. And so when you say don't mute DC, you're talking about the entire region.
Don't mute DMV.
Cultural expression,
Everybody who represents
the lineage,
the culture, and is a part of this. No matter if you're from the inside of the walls or out. Like Atlanta, one thing I love about Atlanta, when I lived in Atlanta for 4 years, bro, no matter if you're from Marietta, you're from Decatur, Stone Mountain, it doesn't matter. You are from ATL.
Yeah.
That's how they classify it. And that's real, because they all represent ATL culture.
Oh, by the way, even Cali, back in the day, when the Bay and LA were super when they were super separated, right?
Yeah.
There was a little bit of a drought, right? Things weren't coming from the West Coast because it was like a big division. When I remember when Problem and I Am Sue started doing songs together, like Problem from LA, I Am Sue from the
Right.
Bay,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you had this like young California and everyone was
The hyphy movement.
the dances, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it became
Ghost Ride the Whip.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it became like a force, and there was like a rejuvenation culturally out of Cali because they started looking at themselves as one or as interconnected. It wasn't about like,
Absolutely.
are you from there and you from there. It was about unity.
Yeah.
Hey, so I have a question for you.
What's
A
up?
lot of things are shut down, right? Venues are shutting down. I read an article, 18th Street Lounge. I don't know if people still go there, but they closed.
I know that was like that was my favorite spot, bro.
It was nice. That was a nice.
That was very nice.
It was 25 years. They went 25 years.
25
is with money drying up and the quarantine and the one next. What are some suggestions you have for DC artists or creators on how to work around some of these new challenges, the economic challenges?
Well, it's a two-part conversation for me, bro. Because I always say that you always have to be prepared for anything, right? It's never about this moment, right? It's just I know we're having a conversation about it, but if you're running your own business, you should always have your concentration on more sources of income than just one within whatever you're doing. So, for example, right now, and you got to be ready for, when you meet new people and say, something becomes successful and you open yourself to more relationships. It's all about being prepared for life for me, right? Yeah. And so, say, take me for instance, right? I'm a producer and an artist and a songwriter, right? And so therefore most of my money has always come in from album sales or programming from streams from album sales, and royalties from album sales. But recently, I because of COVID, and I just started getting into TV and film and using my relationships and my success to build relationships in the world of TV and film, because in the world of TV and film, nothing slows down. Yeah. Right. They haven't had a slow day yet, because TV and film will still be programmed at the end of the day, and people are still going to watch TV. And so therefore, I use my relationship. I started about 2 years ago before the pandemic, because I wanted to start branching out. Okay, you got TV and film, you got albums that you produce on, and then you got your own music, because I'm an artist as well. I got a culture tape coming out that's like, go-go rock and hip hop. It's like the go-go version of an NERD album.
So go-go version NERD. How does somebody classify that? Like if I'm doing playlists, right? And you're combining go-go rock, hip hop, R&B. If I'm how do you sell that and everything?
Well, see, I can't do it myself, and I need cultural curators like yourself to help me out. Okay. You feel me? Like it's not all for me to do. Like I call. That's the reason I call my label District Funk. It's just another word for go-go. What is go-go? It's District Funk. It's DC Funk. So that's the name of my band as well, District Funk Band. You know? So I'm trying to brand it that way, but I definitely need help as far as like, I'm gonna get there now, like after the album is completely mixed and done. I'm like 80% done. And then I start, having those conversations, because, people help you with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, also this is your chance to tell the story, because as well as I know to a limited extent how deep the history of music is here, and if people stop telling the story, it'll disappear. The credit will never. It won't happen.
And that's what's happening right now in DC, honestly. And that was my biggest thing. Like when me and Wale first started, right? Yeah. My whole goal was like, man, you know what? All right, cool. Like go-go was kind of almost dead when we started this entire thing. So we really revived the world of go-go through the records that we were making, right?
UCB.
Yeah. And so moving forward, now we're here. Like now that, we was like really responsible for birthing the rap movement, not the first rappers, but the rap movement, right? And now that we have so many rappers, but we stopped doing those records, as far as the go-go records, it's been too long of a gap. And now trap has been the prevalent thing, but trap doesn't represent DC. Trap represents Atlanta, you know? And so for me, like currently right now, I'm working on a tape that, I do the go-go trap stuff like I did Bait, but with more modern trap drums today, mixing it with the go-go flavor. And it's gonna be an album, a compilation album, like Dr. Dre's The Chronic, where I take, the big flocks from the area, Lil Dude, Shy Glizzy, Money Ma, all these guys, they got big platforms, JG Riff, 3-0 Black, they're all gonna be on the tape. And we're gonna be telling the story of what it's like to be a youth in DC and telling that story in urban DC. And that's gonna be a hard tape coming soon. But then on the other side, I got the alternative go-go. That's what I call it.
Alternative go-go. Okay.
Alternative go-go tape is going to be called Urban Rebels, and that's for a different audience. That gives you a culture tape for people that's not in the trap world, but somebody that's in the alternative world to be able to respect and to really engulf themselves in our world that way. It's to relate them in that way.
Well, go-go is such a live performance music, right? Yeah. And with live shows being shut down, what's a way for go-go? Because I remember people call it going to the go-go. Yeah. I don't know if this is so. If it's alive, if it's experiential, or what steps can a DC or take to take the live experience into the virtual world?
I'll tell you this, man.
Maybe you know what? Even better. Maybe there's some stuff I don't know about. Because remember how they used to do Demon Time on Instagram, and you had to know about it, like to even go to see a thing. Are there virtual outlets right now? What is that's taking go to like the internet?
It's weird, man. Because the thing is, right? We like to want. You have alternatives, right? Yeah. But let's be realistic here. Yeah. There's nothing that's going to replace the live show.
No.
Right. No. And that's where the conversation becomes heavy, because even if you have an alternative, it doesn't match up to what they were getting or what they were doing, or what you were receiving from the live experience. So a lot of people get discouraged. Like you could do something, and you got to have a fan base to even really take advantage of the internet. Because like if you don't really have a fan base and you're just like a local artist who was getting started, you're not going to be making no money from doing online concerts, right?
Whoa.
Typically,
it's coming. It's coming. No, it's coming though.
Gotcha. I'm talking about as far as now.
No, you're 100% right. Right now, to make money, it's not part of the culture or the economics right now. But now, what there's a rush right now. All these tech companies, etc., how to monetize live, how to mitigate it, how to geofence. Geofencing is like if I do a show in DC, right? If I do a show in DC, I can only geofence that only people in Maryland, DC, Virginia can watch. That way I can go to Philly and do the same
thing, like a tour.
Yeah, exactly, like a tour, exactly. Because right now, if I do a show, the whole world
virtual geofencing. That is something.
I can't do it again. Like I can't do the same thing again because so right now everyone's in a rush to create the technologies that help people do 20 shows of 1,000 people, right? And get 20,000 rather than doing one show with 20,000, and you can't make that money again. You know what I mean? You can't go be like, hey, oh shoot, you know what I gotta ask you, man? is what are the and this is more for me. What are the most popping live venues in DC?
Oh man, you got 930 Club for sure.
Yeah, that's classic.
That's classic. Yeah, for sure. If you looking for, you got 930 Club, you got Howard Theater, you got the Fillmore, then you have places like the Anthem down at the waterfront at the Wharf, which is really nice. I've been all up and through there a few times. It's very nice, inside and out. You got, smaller places, Madam's Organ in Adams Morgan. I love Madam's Organ. It's like, it's my type of scene. There's always like a local band there, or like, somebody doing like salsa music or, something cool in Madam's Organ, what else? You got Aqua for the Go-Go's, Club Aqua. You got Power for the Go-Go's. You got what's that big club over there, man? Because I don't really do typically like big clubs anymore.
You mentioned the waterfront, and the wharf, and you're from Southwest. How has that changed Southwest? How has that affected culturally changed Southwest?
To be honest with you, Southwest has always had attractions.
Yeah.
Right. So they just replace one with another. Right.
Yeah.
They just said, you know what, let's tear this down and build up a better one. You know
Zanzibar?
Oh, come on now. I'm from Southwest. Zanzibar, H2O. Yeah, Jenny's, the carryout that was on about in the waterfront. Yeah, all of that. Yeah, Jenny's was amazing.
Well, what can if my pockets are hurting right now, right?
Right.
Streams of income are drying up. What are creative ways that what can you tell me to inspire me to be creative, irregardless of income?
I would say, well, again, let's be realistic about how much money you're looking to make first and foremost, and then I'll gauge from there. Like, so you still have to invest in yourself to pull anything out of anything, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I know a couple of guys with, you know, you can do your research and see that, you know, you can invest into some Spotify playlists if you make an album, create an album, and, you know, it'll take about a month or two turnaround. But if you create an album and you invest into yourself and, you know, get on the right playlists and have the right partnerships, you can make a good $2,000-$3,000, you know, within 2 to 3 months, you know, depending on how much, you know, your music and how much the listeners, you know, stream your music, you know, on these playlists. That's one way, you know, because I've been doing pretty good myself as far as streaming is concerned, but I can do better, you know. You feel me?
Well, how about, but now, how much of the music do you make from home?
Pretty much everything.
Okay, that's a big
deal to cut down costs.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't cost money to be creative. It doesn't cost, because even what you're talking about,
keep the cost down low.
Yeah. So
right.
so that's the one thing that that's this work from home or whatever they call it, teleworking, etc., is that you can do it from anywhere. So back when I was growing up, you had to go to New York. You had to go to LA. Actually, even
right.
You had to leave town.
From studio and the gear in the studio. You couldn't even. You didn't have access to gear.
But now you do. Now you do, or somebody you know does, and it's about having the software, the Wi-Fi, and the creativity, and nothing should stop your flow. Because if you're truly a creative, or if you truly love it, you're gonna do it with or without money. You're just gonna keep going at it, you know.
Right.
You will. That's what I wanted to hear. That was a setup. I set you up.
Nah, I mean, seriously. I mean, you gotta keep your creative costs as low as possible, right? I give you a scenario. I just scored a TV One documentary called "The Beat Don't Stop," which was a go-go one, right? I came in for an interview and it was like, "Tone, we need somebody to score this."
Oh wow!
Are you up for the job? I'm like, cool. It sounds great to me, right? And so, because of COVID, you know, usually I would go in and I would schedule a bunch of sessions because of COVID, and because I have the gear now, I invested into the gear. I don't have to spend X amount of dollars at a studio to do most of my post-production and my production phases. So now I get to execute at the crib for the most part, you know, and do most of my stuff there and keep my stuff, my costs low, which means I can, you know, I can keep more of the revenue that's coming in, you know, it's a big deal.
And people send verses via emails now. They
do. You don't even have to have a studio session. You could buy a $100 microphone, and which is the decent mic, or $200 microphone. That was disrespectful. $200 microphone, like a Bluebird or something like that, and you can get Pro Tools almost for free these days. But you can have it on your laptop, and then you can record yourself and just trade verses, and now you don't have to spend $300 in studio session and this X amount of money on the beat and then X amount of money on you don't have to do all of these things. You can minimize your costs.
In tough times, a lot of the greatest art comes from tough times. So
it does.
Yeah. So
does foods.
Yeah, it's real. No, it's very real. And also the window of opportunity, you know, the window of opportunity. And this is going to last a few years. This is an era.
How long you think this is gonna last?
Over tomorrow. This is an era.
Yes, this is an era. I think it might. I think we'll have some control over it by next summer.
Well, the thing is this: things could get better, but things are not going to go back to
Oh
how
no,
were.
absolutely not.
They're not going back how things were. And there's a lot of behaviors. There's a lot of institutions that are not going to last because right now everything's kind of being exposed.
Right. Kind of. It's being exposed completely. Like.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Well, because now people have time to think about it and see for themselves without any distraction, etc. And by the way, what you were saying just now about doing things from home, back in the day, they used to say, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. I want to flip that. With technology, you can make it anywhere.
Anywhere. You have the world in your palms, like literally, it's here.
Yeah. YouTube, SoundCloud, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Tidal, etc. And even getting on these platforms is just a matter of paying TuneCore $10.99 or whatever to as an aggregator.
See, a lot of people get discouraged though, Tuma, honestly. Like,
why is that? Yeah, tell me
because they don't say if you put, and we all know on the business end here, like typically songs just don't just jump off of you upload a song and then, oh my God, it's so good of a song. Like, no, people create relationships with people over at SoundCloud or at Spotify to help them program their music. Like, you know what I mean? Like I know that for a fact with certain artists from here, Like, and I've seen like, oh my God, like, this guy has not one fan in the world, but they got a relationship. They upload their music on SoundCloud, and then they took a meeting up in New York, and they garnered a relationship to get their music on other SoundCloud playlists, which gives them, the momentum that you need. But my thing is, like, going back for that, you have to take advantage, like in the beginning, take advantage of the relationships and create. And you're a business person. You're a business person. You have to get in the business mindset. It's not just I make music and then you upload it, or find somebody who's a business person who believes in you, and then you guys come and you guys make things work. It just has to be that way.
Well, can I give you a window into the mentality of the people that you're talking
about?
Right?
I got time.
The people that you're talking about move when it's in their interest to move.
Exactly.
So when you build an audience, or you tell a story, right? And the story makes sense for the story that curator or whatever you want to call it, program director or whoever, right?
Yeah.
It's in and the story doesn't always have to be. I mean, you're talking about sonically. A lot of these playlists are sound design. They're looking for a certain kind of energy for the workout playlist or for their mood playlist, like the romantic, etc. So what happens is sonically, sometimes it's story wise where they're speculating. They're like, this is gonna be big, right? But they need to know from you that they need to see that you're going to be able to do the follow-up work, that you've already made the alliances, and not the alliances don't have to be physical anymore. DMing music doesn't work. FYI,
no, out there, it is the worst idea ever.
Spamming, that's spamming. It doesn't work. But building an audience and building a captive a core CORPS of believers, like people like they really fuck with you. It's so interesting. Last year, Broccoli City, I remember I was in the audience. I forgot it was Lil Baby or Ghana. Someone was performing, and then all of a sudden, somebody backstage comes, and all these girls were like, ah! It was here in DC, and I was like, yeah, who's that? They're like, well, that's Q the Fool, right? Right, and the girls were on the other side of the fence, wanting to take iPhone pictures, etc. And I was like, okay, I fuck with this moment, and the reason why I don't know if I'm supposed to swear, but the reason why is that building a block, you know what I mean, of people who appreciate, and it was evidence. Oh, that's what it is, evidence. So when you give those guys evidence, and you don't always have to physically be there, evidence that there's demand or an appetite for your music, they're gonna figure out somewhere to place it. But that's also not a marketing strategy. Like there needs to be way more than that.
Right. Nah, but you're right though, and like in that moment, right, that you just explained, goes back to he was doing the work when it wasn't in demand, right? He was doing the follow-ups before he got to that moment. That's how he got there. You see what I'm saying? And so you're right. A lot of people, they don't want to do the work when it's not convenient for them. You have to do the work and you have to do the follow-ups, right? That's very important it's paramount for people to hear, like for sure.
What's your number one piece of advice that you give to an upcoming artist?
Be consistent, and consistency is everything. Consistency, a quality product, being innovative as much as you can, be an innovator, like always. I mean, once you really make it on your own accord with your own stuff, you can never be duplicated, and you'll always be loved for what you created, And so, between those three things, man. Oh, and just always have a plan. That's my last piece of advice. Always have a plan, because you have a plan. I don't have to tell you to be ready to take advantage of your relationships. That goes hand in hand with have a plan. Yeah,
and FYI, plans should be flexible. That if this doesn't work, then we'll go this route, and then that's part of the plan. Is
absolutely
different strategic options within that plan, so that also when you see something that works for your plan, then you know how to seize it. Carpe diem, seize the moment, seize the day.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Tony, man. This was good, man.
Nah, this is a great convo, bro. Man, we got to build outside of here, man, because I know you have a large appetite for music as a music programmer, and I just would love to hear your responses on some of the cultural pieces that I plan to put out in the world.
Oh yeah, no, you get in the. Was it
Help me don't mute DC, bro.
3 stars and 2 bars. Was it 3 bars or 2 bars? It's 2 bars.
Yeah, let me see. Oh, what
3 stars. Yeah, exactly. You get 3 stars and 2 bars to the
world.
Yeah, to the world. 3 stars, 2 bars to the world. There you go.
That's my slogan, man. We're gonna take this go-go thing all the way around the world. Go gone global.
Amen.
So that concludes our time today. Thank you again to our speakers, Tuma Basa, Director of Black Music and Culture at YouTube, and Tone P, 2-time gold artist, producer, activist, and songwriter, and to you, our audience. We hope you enjoyed the discussion and remain connected to 202 Creates by joining us for our upcoming fireside chat on innovation in business during the pandemic with AOL co-founder Steve Cates. To learn more about our exciting events throughout the month of September, visit us online at www.202creates.com.